Hello, I just got off work and I thought I would take you on a drive home with me. I'm not going to go home the regular way because it's not as scenic. So we're going to take a little bit longer way home, about 10 minutes longer. This may be a long video, so if you get tired of watching it, you can fast forward it or move on to something else. I work in St. Augustine, which is 40 minutes from where I live. It's about 35 miles. We are building a new store in Palm Coast where I live. We're supposed to have that done in November. Then I will only have a 10-minute drive to work. That store will be about 8 miles from my house. That will be nice. I don't mind driving, but sometimes, especially when I'm very tired, I just want to be home. I'll try to make sure that you get to see some of the scenery around here, but I don't know if I will be successful at that. This is one of the rivers, Matanzas River. A lot of boating goes home here, especially on the weekends. Sometimes, like today, I really like my drive home because I'm tired, but I'm not so tired that it makes the driving difficult. And especially if I take this longer route home, it's more pleasant to the eye and I enjoy it. This area right here is considered part of St. Augustine, but it's more on the outskirts of this main part of the city. St. Augustine is visited by millions and millions of people every year from all over the world. It's very well known. Today, I think I may go to bed early. Staying up late last night made it a little more difficult today. Of course, I had a long day today. That does not help. I don't know if it's because of the hurricane, but our sales today were not as much as they usually are. The last 2 hours I spent pretty much doing nothing. I'm not a person who likes to sit around and do nothing unless I'm at home or walking someplace or relaxing. If I'm at work, I feel like I should be working. can't see it right now, but this road parallels the ocean. The ocean is probably 1 mile to my left here. Probably a half a mile. There's a lot of traffic out here today. I'm not used to that on the weekend. Usually, if there's traffic on this road right now, it's going the opposite direction I'm going because I'm heading away from downtown. Lots of palm trees. I'm always glad to get past all of the business district. Get to where the driving is more relaxing. This will be on my YouTube channel, so you can view it without having to download it or anything. I'm unhappy with my computer repairman. I can't believe he did not reconnect my camera to my laptop. I just could not understand why it wouldn't work, because it had been working before, but I had forgotten I put it in the shop. You put it in the shop to fix one thing and they create another problem. I don't know what gas prices are there. When I was in the Philippines, everything was in liters. Here we use gallons. $2.15 a gallon. Mainly down through here are restaurants. Some hotels, some banks. But mostly restaurants. It's difficult for some of them to remain open because of the pandemic. These are fancy apartment buildings. it's nice to have someone riding with me. Usually I listen to jazz on the way home. Sometimes I listen to rock and roll, the music I grew up listening to. But after all of these years, sometimes I just don't want to listen to that anymore. So then I listen to jazz. Now we're getting into a more residential area. There's a park off to the right here for the public. But most of this is now going to be private housing. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. I suppose I don't normally go home this way at 5 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm just surprised at all the traffic. It's a nice day. I think everyone is out enjoying themselves at the beach and outdoors, because with the hurricane coming, it might be 3 or 4 days before they can get out again and enjoy the beaches. The beach is right there. Couldn't see it, but we're getting close. We're running parallel to the ocean, but as we go further south, I'm heading south, the ocean and the road will come together. These are condominiums. Some of them are vacation and some of them are privately owned. I have delivered food out here a number of times. This is a small town. It's called Crescent Beach. This is the only stoplight in the whole town. I like driveways like that. Very nice. On the right, in this shopping center coming up with the blue roof, there is a little bar and grill, and a friend of mine teaches ballroom dancing in there, right there. And before the pandemic, I was going every Monday evening to learn how to dance. I love dancing. I didn't start dancing till I was in my 40s. once I started dancing, I wish that I had been doing it all my life. These homes that we're passing right now are right on the beach. So if you could see past the houses, you would be seeing the beach. Because they sit on the beach, these are very expensive houses. Condominiums. On the right here is the Matanzas River again. We call it the Intracoastal. It's a waterway that runs parallel to the ocean. So technically, I'm driving on an island. It's not quite an island. But there's water on the right for the intracoastal, and there's water on the left with the ocean. I believe these condominiums are more vacation oriented. Ago, I think about at least 15, maybe 20 years ago, my daughter rented one of the houses on the right. It's on the Intracoastal. House it was now. She only lived there for about a year. Of course, most of the houses here are set back. A lot of people like to fish here. That's why there are so many cars parked on both sides of the road. It looks like some people come here to surf as well. I see some surfboards. Now we're going to see an inlet, Matanzas Inlet, where the Intracoastal connects with the ocean. We have people out here boating and on the beach. And then you have the ocean. It all comes together right here under this bridge where the two meet. I don't know how these houses make it through the hurricanes, but every year they seem to survive. They're right on the ocean, of course, as you can see, and they have them built on stilts up above the ground because the ocean will actually come up and cover this road sometimes during a storm. Now we're on a thin stretch of land with the intercoastal on the right and the ocean on the left. And this part of the drive is so much more pleasant. The way I usually go home is a 4-lane road. And heavily traveled. Of course, this one is fairly heavily traveled today. They have built a lot more houses on the ocean front since I came by here last. Hope I'm not shaking the camera too much. I'm not really looking at the screen to see what I'm pointing at, so hopefully you're seeing something of interest. This is a small little place called Marineland. A lot of people visit here. They have a place here where you can swim with dolphins. And that makes it very popular. I'm not sure if Marineland is open right now because of the pandemic. I do not believe it is. But people still come here and go to the beach. Because there's the boardwalk up there, and you can walk down to the beach from the boardwalk. Sometimes I will call my sister when I'm driving home. I tell her she's doing a major service. She's keeping me awake. I don't really fall asleep while I'm driving, but sometimes it's nice to have someone to talk to. I went to the Philippines in 2006 as a writer for a lady who had built a school in the Philippines, and she lives in these condominiums that we're passing on the left. These are all privately owned. I'm sure some of the owners rent them out. Her name is Josie. She and her husband actually go back to the Philippines for 6 months out of the year, and while they're gone, they rent their condo out. So it can make money while they're gone. I don't know if you can see it on this video, but there is a green water tower in the distance, and at that green water tower is one of my favorite restaurants that I like to eat at. It's not fancy, but they serve some of the best pulled pork I've ever eaten, and briskets. It's in a very rural area, but people come from all around just to eat there. The wonderful thing about it is right on the intercoastal, and they have a boat dock, so people with boats actually come in and moor their boats and eat, and then they go back out on the river. I'll show you, because I'm gonna stop here. I'm not gonna stop to eat, but I'm gonna stop and walk you around. It's called Beans Landing. It's also a historical site. They have excavations here for buildings that were made back in the 1600s. There's the water tower. This restaurant is about 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes from my house where I live. So it's not a long drive. I come by myself here a lot just because it's so peaceful. Looks like they're open too. There's the barbecue sign. I'm just going to get out and walk just to show you what it's like here. Lots of picnic tables here, so you can get your food in the restaurant there, and you can eat inside if you like, but you can also come out here to the picnic tables. And we have grills out here if you want to grill your own food. If you have a large party, you can use these picnic tables. play set for the children. This is the archaeological dig that they've been working on. I have spent many hours out here. Sometimes I bring a chair and I fall asleep. Especially if I'm over on the other side of this dock here. There's only a couple boats in the dock because people are inside eating most likely. Looks like he just got in from being out on the water. Whoops, there's a hole there. Looks like they're getting ready to go out. This picnic table right here is the one I like to eat at the most because it has shade. And I have fallen asleep under these trees many times in the evenings. When the sun sets, it sets this direction. And it's often very beautiful. Looks like they're coming in. This intercoastal actually runs almost the entire length of the state of Florida. It was built by President Teddy Roosevelt back in the 1930s. Most of those are private docks down through here. There's people fishing there. A lot of times there's fishermen out here on this one as well. Oh, the smell of that barbecue, it's making me hungry. I haven't been out here for a long time. It's more fun with someone. Over there, you can see it, there's a lot of picnic tables under a covering. People have weddings and stuff over there all the time. And in that screened-in area right there, that's the restaurant. That I often sit there with my laptop and eat and write because I have a nice view of the water and boats coming in. Looks like they got sunburned. All of these trucks are people that are out on their boats right now. So they just come here, they leave their trailers here and they go boating, and then they all come back and reload their boats. There's a couple nice picnic areas over there with covering as well. I like to go over there sometimes because it's more quiet. For me, it's nice to see so many people out, even if they are getting badly sunburned. I'm gonna walk by the restaurant even though it's gonna make me even more hungry. Hey. So what? It's a beautiful day. Oh, okay. It looked like his girlfriend was passed out in the boat. I didn't want to put the camera on her, I just thought that would be rude. I would go in and get something to eat.
Yeah, now it's completely empty. That's because everybody was pulling out of the water. What the hell?
Very happy.
Like I said, I would go in and get something to eat, but whenever I eat here, I just love to get a Pepsi Cola. And I'm trying very hard, I'm working very hard at not drinking soft drinks. And I know I can't resist because for me, a pulled pork sandwich and a Pepsi are just heaven. That's what my mother used to say about pizza and beer. She's like, if I have a pizza, I have to have a beer. I never acquired a taste for beer. I don't really have a taste for much alcohol anyway. But I could never drink beer. I tried, but my mother would swear that there's nothing better than a nice hot pizza and a ice cold beer. Okay. That's just a short view of one of my favorite places. And now we're going to go into Flagler Beach, which is 10 minutes from my house. They smoke their pork right there in that big smoker. And it's fresh every day and it's really amazing. Off to the left here are wonderful hiking trails, and they are miles long, but you can go to the ocean, or you can walk parallel to the ocean through all the trees, or you can even ride bicycles through there. It's a very nice day outing. This road, by the way, is called A1A, which means basically you're not going to get a road closer to the ocean. have a number of friends who have houses down through here. One of them has 2 houses on the Intercoastal with lots of trees, very large, beautiful trees. In fact, her house is down that road. I didn't get my camera around fast enough. It's a very thin dirt road. This area is called the Hammock. And up here in about a mile are where many of the wealthy people live. Most of the homes are $1 million homes or more. They're in gated communities with guards. I have a friend who lives down that road. There are 2 bridges down through here that I can use to get to my house. Probably the most convenient bridge is this one we're coming up on right now. I'm not going to take that because that takes me over the Intercoastal into the mainland. And I would like to show you Flagler Beach. The city of Flagler Beach is what we call a old sea town. It's not as modern as some of the more famous beaches that Florida has. It is holding on to its heritage more. It doesn't allow any buildings over 3 stories tall. Most of our beaches have the very large condominiums that rise up 20, 30 stories. There is only one building in the entire city of Flagler Beach that's over 3 stories. And there's actually a story behind that. As a very wealthy person was able to get the Aliki towers built, and I believe it's 9 or 10 stories tall. So it stands out as the only tall building in the city. It's almost difficult to call Flagler Beach a city because it's small. It's more like a town. Here is, if you go to the right, the extremely wealthy people, and if you go to the left, the very wealthy people. Both of them are gated, and you have to get permission to go in there. And I have some friends that live in there too. And most of these friends they're all writers. I'm wondering how much memory I have on my phone. I'll upload this to YouTube and then I will delete it off of my phone. These buildings are built very strong. They're very solid. I watched for about a year it took them to build. I think it was this one right here, this white one. They built it very solid because it would need to be for the storms that come through. This is a little park that will take you to the ocean. A lot of people out. I have a feeling Flagler Beach is going to be very crowded today. These are some nice homes right on the ocean. I've been in a couple of these. On the exterior, they're not spectacular, but inside, some of them are very nice on the exterior, but on the inside, these are really nice. And they have a beautiful view. And I think people rent these out for income. Flagler Beach has a lot of restaurants on the ocean front here. We're going to be there in 3 or 4 minutes now. And these restaurants, all of them have live music. And it depends on what night it is and what restaurant, depends on what kind of music. You can go to one restaurant and hear reggae. Go to another one and hear country music. Go to another one and hear jazz. Another one may have rock and roll. They have old rock and roll, newer stuff. And down through here are where vacationers have their RVs. They drive their RVs in here, these campgrounds, and they camp out. And right now there's actually more than I would normally see in the summertime. In the winter, when it's cold up north, these places are completely filled. Right now there's a lot of empty spots. That's because it's summer. I really don't know anyone who would want to come to Florida in the summer. It's extremely hot. I have acclimated, and I don't mind sweating. They have built all of these houses recently. I know the person who owned this very last house right here. Now we are connected to the ocean again. This is the beginning of Flagler Beach. The first restaurant is coming up. It's been here for years. When they first put this restaurant in, I didn't think they would get enough business because they're so far out. It's called the Java Joint, but they've been able to maintain business. And now you have these little small restaurants. you can see the tall Aliki building off to the right up there. The only one allowed to be more than 3 stories tall. The ocean's pretty calm today, considering we have a storm coming. It's supposed to change tonight. I may come back this way again tomorrow. I won't do the whole long drive like I'm doing right now, but I will show you what the ocean looks like here when we have a storm coming. The surfers love to come out when there's a storm, and the police are always trying to keep them away because the waves get very large and they like to surf the larger waves, of course. About 5 years ago, I taught my classes, my writing classes, in this brown 3-story right here on the right. I had a friend who had a lease on the lower floor of that, and she let me use that as a room to teach class. It's not too busy down through here. Normally when Flagler Beach is very busy, the parking on the road to the left here, you can't find a parking place. This green restaurant on the right, Johnny D's, used to be one of my favorite places to go. This restaurant has become popular. It's only been there for about a year now. Well, we do have some decent white caps over there. This winery is very popular. They always have people sitting out here. One of the most popular restaurants here in Flagler Beach is the Golden Lion here, where you have seating up on the deck and a great view of the ocean. The food is okay. It's not the best, but it's decent. Now this is a new building. They have just finished this. I have not been in there. I'm glad I went this way. This is one of only a couple stoplights in Flagler Beach coming up. Everybody is shaking the sand out. We've been on the beach. This restaurant with a deck is very popular. I don't care for it too much. It's more of a bar than anything, and drinking is fine as long as it's done responsibly. But this restaurant tends to have more of a rowdy crowd. I suppose that's the younger people. It's terrible when I'm thinking younger people and they're in their 30s and 40s. How did that happen? And we have a pier. It's taken damage from the past couple major hurricanes we had, but they have rebuilt it. It used to be a little longer. When I get up to the stoplight, should be able to see it better. There's a restaurant right at the pier, so you can eat right on the ocean. And their food is decent. But yes, there's the pier. This is the road that leads to my house. ride my bicycle here. It takes about 40 minutes, between a half an hour and 45 minutes to ride on a bicycle here to Flagler Beach from my house. The toughest part, of course, is riding up this bridge. In my younger days, that would be no problem. I rode with my daughter a month or two ago, and she wasn't complaining, but she was saying I was going too slow. I told her I was doing the best I could. Intercoastal. That's back where we came from. Of course, it goes on down that way to our left. Oh, that barbecue has made me hungry. Can't imagine that you would want to watch this in one sitting. You may not want to watch all of this at all, but you never know. And here's the grocery store and some restaurants. I go to that grocery store sometimes. I should come here more often. There's just a couple closer to my house and they're more convenient. I do like this outdoor market, although it looks like they've closed it up. Probably for the day, it is kind of late. But they have fresh vegetables and they have local honey. And I like to have local honey because I have read that it helps keep your allergies down, because the bees, of course, are pollinating here locally, and if you are eating the honey from local flowers, they won't cause your allergies to act up as much. It sounds scientifically possible, so I choose to believe that. The city of Palm Coast. I didn't know the city limit was this far out. This bridge that we're about to go under is the interstate. It's 6 lanes. If I were going to take the fastest route home, that would be the way I would be coming in right now. They build so many gasoline stations these days. This one has been built for about a year. And there's 2 or 3 more right here before the bridge. And there's a grocery store over there as well. And a lot of shops. there's a lot of hotels here as well. I don't know if you can see anything with the glare of the sun. Hopefully it's visible. City of Palm Coast. A car dealership. And this is our hospital. This gas station on the left is the same company as that one I pointed out before. This one has been here about 2 or 3 years. And there's another one up here at the next stoplight that just opened last month. I suppose where there are a lot of cars, there's a lot of need for gasoline. I don't know if you can see that yellow building right between this red truck and that car, but my daughter worked at that restaurant for a number of years. She just recently resigned from that job because she started her own business. And so far she's doing fairly well with her business. Interested to see what the time is on this video. Of course, I did stop and walk around Bing's Landing, so it usually would not take this long to go home. This building has been under construction for over a year now. I think they're about to get it fixed up now. This is the gas station that just opened last month. And we have an airport. This is actually the largest municipal airport east of the Mississippi River in the United States. It gets a lot of planes, a lot of propeller, a lot of prop planes. Not very many jets. A jet couldn't land here because it's too small. This is the high school. This is where my daughter goes to school. We have concerts in this auditorium. We often have really good concerts there. Lots of restaurants in this shopping center, and I also do my grocery shopping in this shopping center. This is 5 minutes from my house. I also do some shopping over here at Aldi's. They have good prices. Some of their food is marginal. Some of it's very good. And often I like to go to this Starbucks, the last building right here on the left that I'm pointing at. I take my laptop in there, and I don't drink coffee, but I do like tea and lemonade. So I'll sit in there with my laptop and I like to write there. I prefer to write somewhere other than my house. And I'm almost home now. Our restaurant supplies 250 meals every other week to that center for the elderly. There's a very large body of water. It's a lake right behind these trees, but in the summertime you can't see it because of all the underbrush. In the winter, well, what you would have to kind of call a winter, well, you can see some of it. When some of the underbrush dies off, you can see it more clearly. Long stretch of road before my house. This is about 3/4 of a mile away from where I live. It's a very quiet neighborhood, which I like. I think I will cook this evening. Oh, that barbecue made me so hungry. Just one more turn. The owner of the cafe that I work at used to live at that house right directly in front of us where those people are getting into the car. He moved to St. Augustine about 2 years ago. I didn't even know we were neighbors until after he hired me, and he had already moved at that point. And look, it is my yard that you have seen before that was mowed. Well, if you managed to make it all the way through this, I'd like to thank you for driving home with me today. It made it a very pleasant drive. I got to see some things that I didn't know had been built because I haven't been over there for so long. Well, I hope to actually talk with you at some point soon. Goodbye.